Hi, hello everybody. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, Andy says he was sat on a meeting scheduled for December. Okay, Andy, good man. Yeah, fast pace, right? Go, go, go. Occasionally missing a detail. And if any of you are joining us, myself and Andy, on Friday for the eColours teamwork session, so we will touch a little bit on the other subjects, but we're going to very much look at teamwork, team building, how to build a strong team and stuff like that on Friday morning. So if any of you are joining, it's complimentary to premium report holders, and we'd love to see you. So all good. Okay, so I've got lots of stuff open on my screen deliberately, but we're going to start with this, and I'm going to talk a little bit about gratitude and go into more information as we go through. So, um, gratitude is something that is within every single one of us, but quite often it gets distracted or taken away from by our mind, our thoughts and our feelings on different subjects, our beliefs on different subjects. And a big question to ask yourself always is if you're resistant in a certain area about something, is like, where's this come from? Where's this belief come from? Is it a widely held belief by humanity? Is it a belief that my mum had or my granddad had or whatever? Is it, beliefs that have been passed down or inherited or indeed that are just widely held? I think it's very, very important to question these things and get yourselves into a really, really positive place. So, without further ado, let's go further into gratitude and understand a bit more about the entire subject. So, please do rename yourselves if you get the opportunity. You can rename yourself on your screen. Just hover over your little face, your little video, click the three dots, and rename yourself with your e-colors if you know them. You can see mine says Y/R, yellow/slash red. Okay, manage your microphones, please. Do speak up if you'd like to, or indeed put your hand up if you want to share something. I'm happy to share the floor with you. And put your webcam on if you can. Avoid echoes, background noise, all that kind of good stuff, and contribute your own thoughts and feelings as we go through. So you all know myself and Emma, and you know that my book is Life Remixed, and my co-write with Paul Money Remixed is now available. The audio book is due today, but the publishers don't get up until because they're in the US, they're in Canada, they don't get up until our lunchtime. So I'm expecting news on that and the Kindle version as well, and the hardback version as well. So I'm expecting news on all of that. So watch this space, and we'll give you more news on Money Remixed as we go through. So you all know myself and Emma. You all understand the e-colors concept, but it's worth just reiterating it and getting our heads around it because we all live in each of these spaces, just depending on our personal percentages, where we actually get to with our reactions, hopefully our responses, is what we want to do. We don't want to be reacting, we want to be responding, which is very key. And understanding how to communicate with each of these individual quadrants is very, very important. And we'll talk more about that on Friday with myself and Andy. You also know my percentages and you know Emma's percentages, and you know that opposites can attract, but you also notice that there's a lot that binds us together there as well, particularly with the red and the blue, the doing and the empathy. The strengths and potential limiters, I do go through these, particularly in one-to-one sessions with everybody, because it's such an important thing. A lot of the times we're not even aware of our strengths or indeed our potential limiters. And Paul and I will share. I don't know, Paul, if you can put the link into the chat box, but if you'd like to put the link into the chat box of the Daily Mirror article that's just been published this morning by yourself and myself. There's a lot in there about strengths and potential limiters, and indeed about money and how people can understand themselves better in order to leverage their finances, etc. So I'm sure Paul will drop that into the chat box in a minute. Click on it, save it, have a read of it in a while. But yeah, all good, all good. So yeah, we need to understand these consciously and indeed subconsciously where these might take place for us in strengths and potential limiters. And everything I do is Institute of Leadership approved, as you all know. We must master these things. We've spoken a lot and we do a lot about who you are in e-colors, but the attitude of gratitude is really the key point to all of this. A lot of people spend their lives not being grateful for anything, um, Or if they are, there's one little thank you here and there, but it's not really heartfelt. It's not really meant. And I know each of you has got your own stories about gratitude, and I want to come to you later and have a look at that. There you go. Emma's actually just put the Mirror article into there as well. There, Paul's done the same. So that's the same Mirror article that's gone into the chat box there. Just click on it and save it and have a read of it later. I think you'll really enjoy it. And keep an eye on mine and Paul's journey and everyone's journey, because I think you're going to see a lot change in the coming years in a good way. We must build towards belief and confidence, the positive mental attitude. All of these things are connected, and those of you that have worked with me for some time will know this. You must connect these things. They do connect over a period of time, which leads to great leadership, teamwork with others, your purpose, your vision and goals, your creative self, and then ultimately money and growth. And that's what we want to get to, all of us, to be, positive with it and do good things. So you know about me. With 33, I collapsed due to an incurable disease, led to bankruptcy, loneliness, all kinds of other things that were really negative and difficult to deal with and challenging. And it's not a sob story, but it's essentially something that did lead me to some very dark places mentally, and not something that I forget because I understand it happened, but certainly something that I know that I will never go back to. But hitting rock bottom, leaving my past life behind, I had to remix my life, literally therapy, coaching. E-colors was a big part of that. But the successful guy you see today and the happily married fellow you see today and everything else is part of the work that I've done internally to be able to then externally express that. So I worked at the London Olympic Stadium and I moved massively outside of my comfort zone. But the big point of that is deep, deep, deep gratitude throughout the process of recovery in my life. And it's still there today and it sticks. It does stick. There might be an occasional moment where you're not feeling it, but actually the majority of my day and night is spent in a place of absolute gratitude. At the Southport weekend, at the weekend, I did go for one night, Andy, and I had a wonderful time, and I was deeply, deeply grateful to everyone there. It was amazing. Bob Proctor says, outward change comes after we change from within. Um, that's the big thing. Everyone's trying to change everything outside of themselves. He said, she said, they did this, they did that, all that kind of stuff. But we need to change. That's the key point. And that's the bit that most people tend to avoid. But if we change, then our outer results change. And I think that's very, very important. We've got to get ourselves to that point of understanding that it's up to us to make the changes. Wallace Wattles wrote in The Science of Getting Rich, gratitude is the start point of all mental adjustment and atonement. Think about that statement again. Gratitude is the start point of all mental adjustment and atonement. In other words, balance, equilibria if you want. But ultimately, gratitude is the key point that gets us to that mental adjustment and atonement, gets us to that balance. It's the most important thing to get back to. Bob writes really beautifully in It's Not About the Money, right at the end of the book. He writes a lovely few pages about gratitude. Highly recommend you look into that as well. The other point here that I've had is the antidote to all negative emotions. Now, I know I work with some of you one to one. I understand that, many of us can have challenges and sometimes we need to talk about them and get them out, reframe them, change our thought process. The ultimate goal is to get to forgiveness, acceptance, and gratitude. Forgiveness, acceptance, and gratitude. If we can be there, we're in our most creative state, and then we can actually get on with our lives and create whatever it is we would like to create. Anything else that we spend caught up in negative emotions, negative thought processes, all that kind of stuff is, I'm going to say, wasting our time. I don't mean it like that, but we're not using our time creatively. We have to go through these processes very often. Louise Hay says in her book, we're all victims of victims because a lot of this stuff has just been passed on and on and on and on and on. The point is, it's up to you to make the change to be like, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to be grateful and be in this really positive place in order that we can move past any negative emotions. Now, Neil Donald Walsh wrote this: gratitude in advance is the most powerful creative force in the universe. Think about that. Gratitude in advance is the most powerful creative force in the universe. So we're not saying thank you after the fact. We're not saying thank you once someone's done something that we deem to be good enough for us to say thank you for. we're actually saying thank you in advance. That in itself is actually a really, really powerful thing to think about. Neil Donald Walsh wrote some amazing books called Conversations with God. And actually, what came about was it was him talking to himself. And his understanding of that is that God is within, love is within us, acceptance is within us. And what he's talking about is gratitude is within us. Gratitude in advance is the most powerful creative force in the universe. Think about that. Start to think about that. Start to practice it. The more you practice in advance, the better things will become. Think about your own stories here, and I want to hear of them later on. I'm already thinking about Andy Ward and his apartment and starting to feel grateful for something. And then you got bookings in, Andy. So, stick a pin in that one and we'll come back to it in a bit. But other people where, you've got these things, think about where you've been grateful in advance and then something's happened that you didn't expect, but actually it was a really important piece. Nuala says, when we get stuck, it's a thief of our time. Exactly, Nuala, exactly. It's a thief of creativity if we get stuck in the negative. So think about that from Neil Donald Walsh, very important. So I'm going to ask a question now, and then I'm going to show a couple of other things on the screen, and then I'm going to I'm a quick chat with Paul and then a quick chat with Lewis as well about this. Do we need a significant life event in order to feel grateful for our life and everything in it? Do we need a significant life event in order to feel grateful for life and everything that's in it? And what I mean by that is, I had my own significant life events when I collapsed and then lost everything. Lewis had a significant life event that he can tell us about that he wrote about, which actually made it okay for me to write my book. Do we need a significant life event? So what I did was this morning, before I jumped onto this call with you, I'm just going to escape that for a second. I went to ChatGPT, as you do, and I decided to ask ChatGPT about this because I thought, let's have an answer for everybody. Let's get rid of that. There's the Daily Mirror article there. Surrounded by adverts for bio oil, but all good. So I asked ChatGPT and it said no. So Kerry, it agrees with you. Angela agrees with you. Um, but for many people, a significant life event, whether a crisis, a loss, or a major challenge, acts as a wake-up call that shifts their perspective and deepens their sense of gratitude. When you lose something or come close to losing it, you often appreciate it more. I just listened to, and was it Michael Antonio, the West Ham player who crashed a car, nearly died, and talking yesterday about gratitude for life. Why did it take the car crash to feel grateful? 'Cause he nearly lost his life. That said, gratitude can absolutely be cultivated without suffering. And that's my goal with the Remix series. Gratitude to be cultivated without suffering. It's about training your mind to notice and appreciate the good in your life right now, rather than waiting for hardship to force the lesson upon you. Daily practices like journaling, mindfulness, expressing appreciation to others can build gratitude as a habit. I end every single email I send with the word thank you. I actually write it. It's not on the signature or anything. I write thank you. I probably write thank you at least 100 times a day, and I mean it. You've experienced, then it freaked me out a little bit. He said you've experienced major turning points in your own journey, like meeting Lewis Senior, overcoming challenges and remixing your life for the better. Do you think those moments made gratitude more natural for you, or were you already practicing it before? Well, for me, it did take the significant life event. Really, I was grateful in moments, but it took the big event for it to happen. So, Lewis, are you there? Can you unmute for a
Yep.
second?
Yeah, I'm here.
What do you think about what I've just said? And what do you think about what ChatGPT said about us meeting each other? That's weird. And also your own take on gratitude.
First of all, I think that good morning, everybody, or good evening, wherever you are. I think, first of all, if you can find a point in your life where you don't need to have a significant event, good for you. I think most people will tell you that once they have been through some kind of event, which was definitely a tipping point, there is the opportunity to make the change. And the reality is not most people go through life and something along the way is going to steer them in one direction or another. Gratitude, I was thinking about it last night, Mark, after we'd been talking yesterday. Interestingly, I think there's a couple of things that for anybody who saw my post yesterday, one of our founding members of Equilibria. It was actually the anniversary of him passing away, actually just at the beginning of COVID. So none of us could even go to the funeral. And I have always been extremely grateful to him just for the way that he came into our lives. And I think that happens with a lot of people. And really, I think one of the key things is to talk about it. Again, this may be a yellow perspective, but I find lots of people they are grateful to people, but nobody ever knows about it. Neither the people they're grateful to or how they express themselves with it. So I think that's really important. The other thing I just want to mention, it's always this thing about the more you get, the more you give, the more you get. We're in the process of finalizing Personalities Remix, which is the next book along the series. And I've been writing to several people who were invited to write the foreword. And to a person, they've all come back immediately with suggestions of how to make the book better. So again, very, very grateful to them for actually speaking up as opposed to, yeah, it's fine, go ahead, you know, do your thing. And I think again, just be letting people know that you're grateful to them, I think is very important to do. And if you're not doing it, I think it's like everything else. The more you practice it, the better you become at it, and the more natural it becomes.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lewis. That's very, very true. And yeah, we're really grateful to each of those people for caring enough to suggest that they would like to see other little tweaks and that, which is great. So I've got a task for everybody today. A task for everybody today is go and tell three people today that you're grateful to them. So take a task and say, make a note and say, and tell three people today. I don't mind who it is. Tell three people today that you're grateful to them, for whatever, you know. Do it. Get into the habit. Start to talk to people, and just let them know, listen, I haven't told you this. I'm really grateful for you. Um, I also want to mention I got a phone call last night just before I went to bed. A good friend of mine that I know many years ago from nightclubs and music, 53 years of age, Jay Kelly, passed away yesterday, had a heart attack and passed away. Um, Again, gratitude for life, and realizing that it can end quite quickly. One of the things I talk to everybody is about looking after yourself, taking care of yourself. And yeah, so, RIP to Jay. Do tell those three people today you're grateful for them. I do have a funny story about that. One of my coaching clients, I challenged him to do that, and he went off and he told his parents how grateful he was to them for everything they've ever done. And they got back to him and said, "Are you all right?" I said to him, "Are you all right? Are you sure? Are you sure everything's okay? You're not like having problems or anything." And he was like, "No, I'm really fine. I just want to tell you how grateful they are." But they were so weirded out by it, right? So, but again, it's okay because it got a dialogue going between them. Do you know what I mean? Where they'd never said it to each other, which is why it was so weird. Paul, I'm coming to
Mark, can I
you.
just interrupt for one moment when I think about it? Just from what you just said. I don't know if any of you've already watched it, but we binge watched Adolescence last night, which is this four-part series on Netflix. And I was reading this morning about why they made it, and it really is worth watching and understanding. The one thing that really caught my attention is the parent at no time hugs his kid.
Yeah.
And it's just you if you haven't seen it, it's well worth watching. But I think there's a lesson in there about how do you show gratitude depending on the person to whom you're showing the gratitude.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. And I've got a little bit in here about, how each e-color wants to be recognized, so we can talk about that in a bit as well. But it's very, very important to understand this. So, Paul, I'm coming to you in a moment, but before I do that, I just want to show something to everybody here as well. So, this is Life Remixed. Now, this is the PDF of Life Remixed. I wrote an entire chapter, I Want to Thank You. That's actually, you can see that these are all song titles. There's a song title called I Want to Thank You. I forget the artist, but essentially there it is. I want to thank you. And I searched the word gratitude, and it is in Life Remixed, at least on 27 pages of the book. It's there, it's there, it's there. Gratitude, 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 gratitude. If I look at Money Remix, where we haven't done an entire chapter on gratitude, but actually it's in the book 17 times. And there'll be things here like A quote from Alfred Whitehead says, "No one who achieves success does so without acknowledging the help of others. The wise and confident acknowledge this help with gratitude." And we could go through the book, gratitude, gratitude. Each of us, Paul and I, both talking about gratitude. And there's one particular quote here from John F. Kennedy that I think I'll put later in the presentation. As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. Okay, very, very, very important to understand. So we put it massively throughout. It threads its way throughout everything in Money Remix. Paul, do you want to talk a little bit just there about gratitude for you?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would say about 90% of the conversations I have with people, it's always about people complaining about things that are happening in their life rather than, thinking about the positive things about their life. And and in particular, certain e-colors are very prone to looking on the glass being, half empty as opposed to half full. So so I think again you've got to keep it at the forefront as you live your life to make it an even better life.
And from your perspective, I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I find it's so much easier to be negative for people, isn't it? You know, just because we're almost
Mm.
all trained that way, aren't we? It's a hostile universe. Be afraid, be afraid, be afraid. And we'll talk about much more about fear next week. So much easier to be negative. From your own perspective, were you ever afflicted with any of those kind of negatives and fears? Have you had to work on that, or is that something that wasn't?
Yeah, no, for me, I had to really work on it because as a red over green, you tend to be looking for problems rather than looking where the solutions are. So you tend to be a glass half empty rather than a glass half full person. So you really have to dig into your blues and your yellows to bring that out.
Be more optimistic at times. No, but
That's
sure. No,
right.
it's good. It's really good, mate. It's really good to hear. Thank you. And while we've got Jason Anchor, do you want to unmute for a second? Because your own journey with gratitude. It's great to see you this morning, mate. I'm glad you're here. I didn't know you were gonna be here. What brought you in? Was it the gratitude subject?
A little bit, yeah. Yes. For people who don't know, I'm in a wheelchair. I've been in a wheelchair for 32 years, and I've really struggled with certain things, and obviously working with more. And gratitude it's key to everything in my life. The reason I'm where I am today is because of gratitude. Since I brought gratitude into my life, and probably when I do my presentation, I'm a speaker. When I do my presentations, a line that always floors people is I show a picture of my wheelchair. And I say, for years, I used to wake up every morning and my wheelchair used to represent everything that was wrong in my life. I blamed it for every single thing that went wrong in my life. Where today, when I wake up, I'm now actually grateful for my wheelchair. And people look at me like, what are you talking about? I can be grateful for my wheelchair. Because what I say is that I can't change my situation. I'm in a wheelchair and that's it. The only thing I can change about my wheelchair is my attitude. And having an attitude of gratitude has completely changed everything about my life. I love life. I love every day. And my gratitude I do every morning. I wake up, I think about my granddaughters first thing in the morning. I'm grateful for my granddaughters that they're in my life. And it puts a smile on my face
Mm.
straight away. I'm grateful for and people, for me, gratitude has changed everything. Working with Mark and learning. So today, actually, it's my mum's second anniversary since mum passed.
Mm.
But we're going to a grave, lay some flowers, and we're going out for lunch. We're grateful for mum's life. So you can choose to be, you can choose your attitude, you can choose to be grateful. And I think that's key for me. I've chosen to be grateful for things I used to hate, and finding gratitude just it lifts you up. I could either go, oh my bloody wheelchair's there, I'll go, oh my wheelchair, my mobility.
Can I
My
ask?
wheelchair,
Can I ask?
yeah,
Can I ask you a question, Jace?
yeah.
So, how many years do you reckon that you spent in that, sort of hating the wheelchair, and then it was quite a few years, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'd say at least 25.
Wow, amazing. And then we started, you were on the journey already, and then we started working together. And then I remember saying to you in one of our very early sessions, and I'm sure you won't mind me saying, as a top yellow, sometimes we can be a bit emotional, but you were a bit emotional that day. Um, and I remember in one of our very early sessions, I asked you to go and speak to your mum and dad, didn't I? And tell them you were grateful for everything.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I did. Mum suffered ill health for a lot of years, and I always felt responsible for causing a lot of grief. Also, I didn't deal with my wheelchair very bad, drink drugs, I went really off the rails for a lot of years. And I caused mum loads and loads of hardship, and loads of stress and worry and anxiety with my drinking. And yeah, even though mum was really poor in the last few years, I think it really helped my mum see me change,
Mm.
and being grateful for, thank you for all the things you did for me. It's like a game changer. So the last few years of her life, she was suffering with really ill health. She was in a better place, I was in a better place.
Amazing. That's such an important thing, isn't it? And now you pass that on to your children and
Yeah.
to the grandchildren.
Yeah.
And and that's the strength of this. The strength of this is, so that you won't your legacy won't be like, oh, my granddad was in a wheelchair. It'll be my granddad was an amazing man who was full of gratitude and happiness and all that stuff. So, but Jace, thank you, mate. That's really cool. Yeah, look, amazing stories. I'm going to come to many of you as well later on, as we sort of continue on. But just to sort of carry on with what Bob was saying about that, and this is where I said about going a bit deeper. Bob was a very spiritual man. I find myself more and more like that. I think I do understand spirit. I understand my soul, my energy. I understand I've been given a mind and a body to live in and work with. But without my spirit, my body is in the ground. So, but what Bob said here was gratitude is an attitude that hooks us up to our source of supply. And the more grateful you are, the closer you become to your maker, to the architect of the universe, to the spiritual core of your being. It's a phenomenal lesson. Now, that's very powerful. It brings up quite a lot of, positive emotion in me. Yeah, remembering my time working with Bob and everything that he taught me. Um, that's such a powerful thing to really start to understand. Now, you guys have been around me for a while. Many of you understand me and this and the subjects and everything we talk about. If I went and plonked this in front of a brand new group of people, some of them might think I was a bit bonkers. That's okay. But the point is that, the spiritual core of your being, you get to it via gratitude. And very often we have to get past our thoughts and feelings to be that grateful person. So when you think about this, and think about this to yourself, I've said to you already, go and tell three people that you're grateful to them today. What are you grateful for? What are you grateful to those three people for? Perhaps it's not anything in particular. Perhaps it's just for them being them. Um, then think about what has gratitude helped you achieve in your life? And these are questions we can come back to at the end as well. But what has gratitude helped you achieve in your life today? And then if you think about Neil Donald Walsh's statement, what are we grateful for in advance? So I'm grateful for all the amazing things that are coming to me in my life and for you. And do you have a grateful heart on all subjects at all times? Now, even when you master this yourself, as I believe I have, 99.9% of the time, you then start to see in other people when they're not grateful. You start to really observe it in other people. Now, we have to remember not to judge. Observation is power, judgment is weakness. So we don't judge others, but we observe others. And you start to see when people are not grateful. And it really, really, really does become clear. Okay. But you must do the work on you first. Your job is you and nothing else. Your job is you. Everything else happens like ripples in a pond effect. Okay. The end goal here is to be grateful for everything, capital letters, when whether you perceive it to be good or bad at the time. So something bad might happen today or tomorrow. Where's the lesson? What's the gratitude? And let's move on. Now, it's easier said than done for different e-colors and different people, but it's a work in progress for everybody. It's a huge challenge. There are different levels of gratitude. It grows over time, like Lewis said. But the quicker we speed up the process is better for our own mental health to get to that, place of inner peace. When we're children, we're taught to say thank you, but there's never a reason why, is it? Say thank you, Mark. Thank you. That's not enough. It's not enough, We need to. I wish someone had explained to me, what Bob was saying to me. Maybe I wasn't ready for it when I was 5 years old, but at least I might have started to get some understanding about the power of gratitude and really get my head around it. A deep feeling is the start of all inner happiness and mental balance. Wallace was right. The entire process of all mental adjustment and atonement can be summed up in one word, which is gratitude. And like Jason said, some people look at him like he's a bit bonkers. What do you mean you're grateful for the wheelchair and stuff like that? Because they don't understand it. They're not in gratitude themselves. So they'll look at him like, oh, that's a bit weird. I get it a lot as well. But it's okay. It's all part of the process. When we get there, we are in a very, very, very good place in ourselves, within ourselves. The Secret was based on that book by Wallace Wattles, and it's worth investigating those books and everything else on my website on markwilkinsonofficial.com. There's loads of recommended books and reading on there as well, including Lewis's book at the end of the day. But work on it, and life starts to take shape exactly as you'd like it to be. You have to repeat, repeat, repeat. Repetition is mastery. I can see the chat box alive there. Yeah, gratitude is everything. There you go. From Andy, Jason in there as well. Great stuff in there. So keep these going in the chat box, but I'm going to come to you all as well. But repetition is mastery. What you give out is what you receive. Very, very important. So start being grateful for everything now. Be grateful for the cup of coffee you're going to go and get. Be grateful for someone smiling at you. Be grateful for someone having a go at you or criticizing you, because actually perhaps you can use that as leverage to make yourself better. Yeah? Whether they're right or wrong doesn't really matter based on your beliefs. Just be, okay, thank you, and then crack on being better every day. Because when you do this, you're sending a powerful message to the universe that you're ready for more good things to come into your life. Write down the 3 things to be grateful for. I've challenged you today to tell 3 other people. Think about your e-colors and think about what you can do before every meeting. I'm not sure Heather's on this call, but Heather was saying she's a regular on these calls. Heather said she starts a meeting, her one-to-one meetings with a member of her team by saying, what are we grateful for today? They start the meeting, they have the gratitude, and then they start the meeting, and the meeting goes really, really well. Hello, surprise, surprise, but that's exactly what we're talking about, is getting their corporate culture, growth, further success. It starts with being grateful. It's a powerful exercise. Be grateful for 3 things that haven't happened yet. Trust me on this, waking up in good health is a blessing in itself. And I wish more people understood that. But again, it's very important. You want to elevate your mood, reduce any depression or disease or anything like that. Be more connected, become better, more likable, more trustworthy when you practice gratitude. Inflammation, lower levels of inflammation, I can testify to that. Reduce anxiety, absolutely testify to that. Boost your energy levels, yeah. Reduces the severity and symptoms of any kind of illness. Improves your sleep. Be grateful before you go to sleep, and you'll sleep better because your mind will be calmer. And get stronger bonds, stronger relationships, better things happening in your life. All of these things are dependent upon you being really, really grateful. Put it simply, okay? John Maxwell said, gratitude by its very nature works to eliminate 3 mental characteristics that most undermine success. Think about this. Some people feel isolated. If you go and watch the news, they'll be talking about isolation, about post-COVID, about how people are not going out and people are not. Okay, start to feel grateful, and that will start to dissipate. Egotism, that can be a real big problem in business and in other areas of people's lives. Egos. Most people would rather be right than actually be grateful or happy and be accepting of what's actually going on around them. And then arrogance. Arrogance can play a part as well. Start being grateful. Those 3 things will dissipate from your life if ever they're a problem. So again, you can't tell other people this. You've just got to do it yourself and then allow them to find their way. But I often say to my coaching clients, don't go and tell people, show them. Show them what good looks like. Show them how good it is to be grateful. And they'll say, there's something different about you. What's going on? And that's really, really powerful. So, grateful people linger over life's blessings and not over problems. You can learn to live in the moment when you practice gratitude. You can leave fear behind. It becomes a thing of the past. You can live your life on purpose. You can love people around you and appreciate people around you when you feel gratitude. So put it into a daily practice, okay? Think about gratitude strategies. Interior, so think about yourself, okay? And think about those things and write them down. Exterior, start to express it to other people, little messages or WhatsApps like I've asked you to do today. And then eventually get to a point where you're just grateful for everything. Express everything with gratitude. I'm thankful for every little thing, the air we breathe, the food we eat, the work we choose to do, everything, everything, everything. I'm massively grateful for. And those of you who do get to interact with me on a regular basis, I hope you see that. Even when I'm tired and run down because I've got excited and got stuck into loads of projects and things, I still feel gratitude just for the moments that I'm able to relax. Oprah Winfrey, pretty successful person, one of the richest people in America. So to be thankful for what you have, you'll end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never, ever, ever have enough. Brilliant. What a brilliant comment. Be thankful for what you have, you'll end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you'll never, ever have enough. Now, the key point here is our mind will try and play tricks on us. So we might be sitting in a lovely house with a lovely car on the drive and a lovely partner and the sun is out and everything else. And the mind will then go, oh yes, but what about this money problem, or what about this, or what about whatever it might be. And actually, that's robbing us of living in the present moment. Just flip it round to gratitude. Everything is all right here, right now, from what I just described. And then start to think about, right, how do I fix this problem? And that leads you to taking control of how you think and feel. Jason says they're showing instead of telling completely changed my relationship with my son. That's beautiful. That's beautiful, Jace. Love that, mate. Look, another quote from Bob. Gratitude is a powerful process for shifting your energy and bringing more of what you want into your life. Be grateful for what you already have and you'll attract more good things. We're talking about people here that are hugely successful. And if you really listen to people that are very, very successful and stay successful for long periods of time, you will often hear them talk about gratitude. They might not sit there and bang the drum about it, but listen very carefully in an interview or something like that. And you'll hear them smile and say thank you and say I'm grateful for this or grateful, and it just threads their way through their lives. It's just a natural thing. It's an attractive force, gratitude. Very, very powerful. We wrote about it, as I said, in Money Remixed. We've put it in there loads of times. The audiobook is due today. I will let you all know once it's up and running. But the audiobook, Kindle, the hardcover, all of that is going to be available today. Thank you to those of you who bought the paperback last week. We did reach a bestseller status in the UK, Canada, Australia, and the USA. And I will be posting about that in the coming days. And at one point, I did share a screenshot last week. At one point, we actually sat one place above Napoleon Hill's classic Think and Grow Rich. And if any of you know me and know the work that I've studied from those 500 millionaires that Napoleon Hill studied, you'll know what a moment that was in my life to see that Money Remix just above Think and Grow Rich. So wonderful stuff. Discover what we wrote on gratitude in Life Remix, the Money Remix, please. Is very, very, very important. Okay. So you need to understand what your mind looks like if you're going to be able to program yourself. And I share this with a lot of clients. Most people think their mind is their brain. It is not. The brain's part of the body. Okay. The problem is we think in pictures and we don't have a clear picture of what our mind looks like. I've had people say to me, my mind's a scrapyard. My mind's a roller coaster. My mind's rapids. I've had people say my mind's a washing machine. When I ask people what their mind looks like, they just go, "Oh, the answers that come out are actually like incredible, funny, and incredible, but certainly needs work." The key point here is this graph here, or this graphic here. Let me just explain it nice and easily. This is you. You have a conscious mind. You have a subconscious mind. Thoughts are in your conscious mind. Subconscious mind is your feelings, and they reflect into your body. Now, if we are in ignorance on any subject, and I haven't met anyone yet who knows everything, but if we're in ignorance on any subject, that becomes a problem because we get worry and doubt in the conscious mind, assuming you can all see my mouse move here as well. Worry and doubt in the conscious mind, which then leads to fear in the subconscious mind. This is not a place to be, okay? Because it then starts to give anxiety. We start to get anxiety in the body. We feel anxiety, don't we? We feel it. We feel that, that anxious feeling in our body. So what do? We go to the doctor. What do? We go to the doctor, and the doctor gives us something for it to suppress anxiety. Or if we don't go to the doctor, we start drinking alcohol or taking drugs or whatever it might be. But we suppress anxiety down, 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 down. But we do that for a long period of time, and we end up with depression, and then dis-ease if we end up with that. That is because of a lack of knowledge, ignorance. If we can be over on the right hand side, we start to create knowledge. When I'm saying to you, I say to you, are you grateful? You'll go, yeah, 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 I'm grateful, I'm grateful. And you might understand it logically, okay, in your conscious mind. But essentially, you might still feel anxious in your subconscious. You might still feel, yeah, I know that, Mark, I know that, I know that. But your emotions are down here somewhere. We've got to connect these two things so we get understanding in our conscious mind of what's really going on, which leads to faith in our emotions, faith, belief, confidence, positive energy. And all of that then gets to a point where all of that gets us to a point where we have faith, belief, and confidence in our subconscious, and then leads to well-being, expression, at ease, and expression. Well, yeah, writing books is pretty much an expression, isn't it? I'm over here. I'm over here because I've done the work, and that's what these sessions are about. And this is what everybody can really get their heads around. Be at ease, express yourself. You'll be in a really, really good place. So, all subjects, all times, gratitude. Your current belief systems, BS. There is another BS, is there not? But your current belief systems, whatever they are, you can switch it with gratitude. Where did the belief come from? Inner happiness, mental balance is what we're looking for at all times. We get where we need to get to. And remember that quote from The Science of Getting Rich, the start point of all mental adjustment and atonement. So if you see people impatient, frustrated, angry, fearful, any of those kind of emotions, if you feel any of it yourself, switch it as quickly as possible. The play and the pause button on our wristbands, pause the negative feelings and think, right, what am I grateful for now? Go. And you will start to feel better. And when you do, you'll be more creative. So what are you grateful for? What has gratitude helped you achieve? And do you have a grateful heart on all subjects at all times? Can you achieve that third point in every single moment? Do you have a grateful heart on all subjects at all times? I think you can. I know you can. If I can, then you can. Lewis will tell you the same, I'm pretty sure as well. Effective recognition was something that we spoke about. How I like to be recognized. This is more e-colors work, more Equilibria work. Lewis, do you want to just come in on this?
Yeah, I think it's important. This is actually one of the first things we looked at right at the beginning, because when you're trying to bring the people together, when you are working with a team, etc., there's a lot of things, a lot of people will tell you nobody ever goes to HR to complain that they've had too much positive feedback or recognition. But recognizing people in a way that they wish to be recognized is important, because if you get it wrong, it actually works against you. So again, it's something to consider, that like all of the work we've done over the years, it's worth having a look. What I do tell people who really wrestle with, I don't know how to recognize my people, simple answer is, well, ask them. And maybe the way to ask them, if they're a little bit shocked at why you're asking them, is to put something like this in front of them, say, of these answers here, which one can you most relate to? And that gives you another opener for a conversation.
Do you want to give an example, perhaps from each of the four quadrants? I mean, the yellow ones, for me, is just everything, right? I mean, it's just, tell me how great I am in front of a group. Yay, all day long. But do you want to give us an example, Lewis, of perhaps experiences you've had from each of the quadrants?
Well, first of all, we do a lot of 360-degree feedback. So, which typically I like to boil down to, what's the person doing well they should continue to do? What should they stop doing? What should they start doing? Do you have any nuggets for the individual? People who are top color yellow, for example, they will always go to the pages looking for what they do well first. Whereas people who are predominantly red, green, green, red immediately go to what are they doing, or what should they stop doing, or what should they start doing so they can fix it.
Yeah.
Which again, I think is worth understanding. And then again, for people who are so top color red, they typically want, just as it says there, they want concise feedback. In fact, I remember when Paul and I first met, when he was in the HR group over in Transocean years and years ago, what he wanted recognition for from a monetary perspective or a bonus was correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, but I remember you telling me it was how he could measure how well he was thought of because of the amount of bonus he got.
Yeah.
Whereas somebody who's not top color red may want it for a completely different reason.
Hmm. Anything else to add on the blue or the green?
Well, this is very true. There are lots of times where um, people who are top color blue, typically, if they're going to be recognized, they'd rather be recognized in private. They certainly don't want to be pulled out like you, Paul. I mean, you, Mark, probably wouldn't mind being pulled out in front of 1,000 people and everybody, yeah, go, Mark. Type thing. That does not work for blues at all. In fact, most blues would tell you they'd rather die or go blind before publicly speaking. So you can imagine the impact it has on them when they're actually recognized on their own, where they maybe want to be recognized with the team.
Yeah.
Again, different strokes for different folks, but all as important. I do think what's interesting, and again, we ask thousands of people the question, how do you want to be recognized? They all wanted money, as in, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but what they wanted the money for was different,
Mm.
as it says there at the bottom of each one of those blocks.
Yeah, no, it's very, very true. Very true. It's certainly, money for my people is like, that's what I want for everybody. I want people to succeed and succeed big. And then yeah, it goes in my percentages, literally goes all the way around. And yeah, when I look at the recognition in pub, yeah, when we did our seminars, 150 people each time, I'm standing on the stage and everyone's clapping and appreciating me. I'm quite comfortable with that. I'm grateful for that. Whereas Emma is at the back with the microphone doing the voice of God. No one can see her because she's, green blue, but recognize me in private rather than in public. So yeah, really interesting. Thank you, Lewis. And I think we all need to understand that. Look, ultimately, we call this the pathway to appreciation. Some people will start with doubt and resistance. When if I put that spiritual stuff in front of people, some people are like, really? But the more we start to understand that we're not just our mind, I think therefore I am is okay, but therefore, who or what is I? Doubt and resistance is something that where people can start with, but ultimately we start to move up the appreciation, self, others, understanding. Hopefully we can move past tolerance and get to appreciation at the top of the mountain, and then embrace and leverage every person who we're working with to understand their perspective. Emma says, "I don't even like doing the voice of God in the background at the seminars." So it's all good. It's all fun. Let's sum it up. Keep practicing gratitude until one day you wake up and say, "I am grateful," and that's it. Okay. No one has ever complained, like Lewis said there, about too much positive feedback or too much gratitude. No one's ever complained about that, to our knowledge, because it's important. And there's that John F. Kennedy quote again. As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them, which is a beautiful expression of gratitude. And again, these are very successful people talking this way. So we can succeed like this, but we need to leverage the power of what we're talking about. So live without pretending, love without depending, listen without defending, and speak without offending. And actually, that's really good advice. And you'll live a successful life that way and attract a lot of people to you, which is very, very important. Love every person you come into contact with. Give them the impression of increase so that they are happy that you were there, and your life will continue to grow and grow and grow. Okay. I want to say thank you for being here. It's been an amazing session, but I also want to come to all of you. We've got plenty of time. We've got 10 minutes or more. How about we listen to each of you? Andy, would you like to go first, actually? Because I'm sure you've got some gratitude lessons for us. And of course, we're looking forward to our session on Friday morning, right? So,
Indeed, yes. I've loved this, absolutely loved it. Gratitude, as I said, it's pretty much frames everything that I do now. And a lot of this has come about as well from everything that I've learnt from yourself, being aware of my own e-colours particularly, and any negative experiences or possible negative experiences, oh, sorry about that, that I would have normally had, I now frame them by looking for the gratitude in what that experience has taught me. And it completely changes the way that I communicate with people. If I can very briefly give you an example, trying to coordinate 90 different DJs on a radio station that I've just put together. all of the different personalities receive the information that I share in completely different ways. And where in the past I would have been pulling my hair out with complete frustration, I'm just grateful that I am able to put this radio station out to the public and that I have the knowledge to be able to address the different ways that I need to communicate with these people. And that really, it completely changes the interaction that I have. I always start off with thanking them for, for example, give loading a radio show to the server. I thank them for doing that, but then I say, but it needs to be changed slightly because you've got this wrong. In the past, and I'm not joking, I would have been like, I've told you 7 times that is not the way that you load that to the server. What's wrong with you? It's amazing, as you well know.
That's a huge difference, isn't it?
A
And
massive difference.
and the only thing I would add to that as well, Andy, is like, when we give him feedback, I really do attempt to stay away from the word but. So I would say something like, thank you for adding that to the server. And by the way, da 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 da
Yeah.
da da da. Because if
And
we,
it will be even better if.
Yeah, I
right.
think it, without defending myself, when I am actually doing that, I am aware of that because
Yeah.
I've read the difference between but and and. Yes, thank you.
There's a big difference, isn't there? But it's
Yeah.
an easy thing to fall back into. I still do it at times, and I think, but consciously being aware of the words we're using, I think it's really, really powerful. Because if we say "but," we're basically negating everything we said before it, and we don't want to do that when we're showing gratitude, right? So it's great to show gratitude, and then it would be even better if that's good. Look, good from Lewis. I love that. Thank you, Lewis. Else would like to share anything? Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.
I feel like going to Stacey for some reason because she's so quiet.
I knew that was coming.
I'm going to go. I'll tell you what, sorry, Stacey. I'm going to go to
Go
Brit
ahead.
after you. I'm going to go to Brit after you because we've never really heard from Brit. She's only joined us recently. But Stacey, let's talk about gratitude.
I find it really easy to be grateful for the positive things.
Right.
I'm still working on being grateful for the things that I perceive to be negative and hard.
Great observation. Great observation. And that is about your inner beliefs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've had some good discussions around that, haven't we?
Yes.
And so it's not easy. I mean, nothing on this planet is designed to be easy. It's all designed for us to grow.
Yeah.
But the good news is that if you go back to the stick person, in your conscious mind, you're consciously aware of the fact that actually, can I be grateful for this thing that actually at the moment I'm feeling bad about?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's in itself, that awareness is useful.
Okay.
Then the ongoing work is connecting those two things.
To become grateful for it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. So it's really, really important. But great work, Stacey. And as a green blue, I know that you'd like to be recognised privately, but there you go. I said it. So I'll do that another time. But wonderful, Stacey. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Jay, sorry, you got your hand up. No, you're muted. Oh,
Yeah, sorry, I just thought to add to that, Stacey. So what I literally do now is when something's bad and it has happened, so I literally search what I should be grateful for. I literally know there's something I should be grateful for. So it might not be very obvious to me straight away, but literally when something goes bad or wrong, I actually search out, so what am I going to be grateful for? And that's how I learned to start being grateful when things didn't go right, because there's a lesson there somewhere. But worse, if there's nothing else, at least there's a lesson. So that's what I did. For example, I've been a bit quiet with work all of a sudden. It's just gone really quiet. And I did start to panic a little bit, think, oh, what's happened? Well, I've got no work. But what I did, I then became grateful for the free time I got. I've done loads and loads of work. So it is hard to say. It's the hardest thing I learned, and Mark knows with this conversation one-on-one, the hardest bit is to learn to be grateful when things go wrong. But once you get it, honestly, it's a complete game changer, Stace. Honestly.
Right. And what you've described there, Jace, is you've described the creative state that you can go into. Because if you're grateful for the free time, then you can carry on writing your next book, and you can without all the distractions.
I literally read 2 courses last week.
Yeah. Creative, mate. Creative. Brilliant. Love it, Jace. Love it. Good. All right, Jace. We need to catch up as well. We need to catch up with you on a couple of things because we're going to see you at the kinetic thing, and we've been talking about that as well. So all good. Thank you, mate. Brit, hello, South Africa. How are you, Brit?
Hello. It's really nice to be here. I got introduced to e-colors a long time ago, but it's wonderful just to hear all this, just refreshing my mind and stuff. I don't know if my e-colors are showing up on my name, but I'm red over green, and yeah, just very task orientated. And my journey has been just to be so much more people focused and be in the moment, and just recognizing the gratefulness in those moments and being able to see and be grateful for those moments with people and not just always solving the problem and chasing after the task. So that has been my biggest journey. Even in marriage, I am married to a blue over green. So yeah, I feel like just even spiritually, my spiritual life, and how the Lord has helped me to actually navigate those things, it's been a beautiful journey. So I often used to joke with my old coach and say, today my pause button is broken. But I feel like my pause button has been fixed, and every single day just journeying through it and being grateful in those small moments is even something that I'm teaching our kids at the moment. So yeah.
That's lovely. Good on you. Good on you. And yeah, it just, as a top red, married to a top blue, there can be potential conflicts there. So you have to learn how to
Mm.
manage that, right? So yeah, good on you. Good on you. Lewis has got his hand up. Go on, Lewis.
Yeah, I just wanted to share an anecdote. So I think sometimes we don't realize the impact that the gratitude has. But Mark, I have a friend of mine who I work closely with in the States called Dr. Ziad Naufal, who's Lebanese. And he's one of my walking and thinking partners when I go to Houston. And I asked him one day, I said, when was the last time you actually thanked your mum and dad for bringing you into the world? Because I always consider him to be like a gift to the world. Oh, he said, it's been a long time. I said, well, give me your mum's email address. I'm going to write to her and thank her for bringing you into the world. And they actually escaped out of Lebanon just before the recent bombing started. And we were all at Ziad's house a few weeks ago, and her mother actually pulled me aside. His mother pulled me inside and said, "You know, I will never ever forget the email you sent to me, and how much I appreciate the fact." And it took what, a minute and a half to write an email, and yet it's something that will stay with her forever. And I think when you're talking about gratitude, it doesn't take a long time to make a difference, and I think that's probably worth thinking about.
Very much so. Very much so, Lewis. Thank you. And thank you, Britt, as well. Great share. So the people I can see on the camera are Nuala, Steve, Kerry, Angela, Andrew, and Carolyn. Steve's got his hand up. So I was going to say, I'm conscious of time, but I'm happy to stay for a while longer. So if anyone would like to share, but Steve, yeah, would you like to share something?
Yeah, absolutely, Mark. Firstly, the book looks great alongside Life Remixed. It doesn't look as lonely anymore.
I need to share something with you about that. So it was designed by the same people, but they designed it differently. And Emma's a top green, right? Emma's a top green, and she looked at it and she said they don't line up correctly. You're going to need to change that. And she went back and she got them to change every little detail of this thing, so that the two of them, if they sat on the bookshelf together, they actually look good as well. You're probably talking about those as well, but side on, they actually line up really, really beautifully now. And
It looks good up there.
that was her. That was.
But really enjoying the book. So thank you. I'm grateful for you and Paul.
Thank you, man.
It's getting great insights into Paul's life, and I've got some nuggets out of that already. So really grateful on that. So it's all, as we're talking about gratitude.
Thank you.
Just to share a little bit about my life, and I'm still on this journey of self-development and really understanding gratitude.
Mm.
I lost my mother when I was 20 years old, and she was really, really impactful in my life, and it was a massive loss. So I think I was in no man's land for many, many, many years, and I'm still working on the gratitude around having her in my life for that short period. So yeah, still working on that, but where I'm understanding it more, just to explain a bit, is this self-development journey started after COVID, when I had to generate and build a frontline ambulance business in COVID. And it nearly destroyed me. I got overwhelmed, nearly burnt out, and that's where the self-development journey for me started, and linked up with Mark and e-colors and all that kind of stuff. And now I understand that that was meant to happen to get me on this journey.
Mm.
So I'm grateful for those really tough times, and they were tough in those moments. There's the other thing I just wanted to share is there was a thing on Instagram that really, really resonated with me. This guy said, most people, you come out with a comment like, I had to go to the gym or I had to go to work. It's not you had to, you get to. I get to go to the gym. I get to get up in the morning and breathe fresh air. I get to read the books, Money Me Remixed. I get to be on these calls. I get to do that stuff. I get to do the hard work so my life is easy. And that really resonated with me. So I'm grateful for everything at the moment. But still, it's a work in progress. And like I said, the biggest impact was losing my mum, and it still affects me today. And I'm looking at that and saying, well, I'm more resilient now. I'm stronger. I am the person I am today because I had to build those things after a massive trauma in my life. I call it a trauma.
Mm.
So just wanted to share that in terms of how I'm learning. Even at 52, I'm learning and developing every single day. I could say, oh, 34 years of my waste. No, not really. This is the journey. This was meant to happen at this time.
That's absolutely right, Steve. And I really resonate with your words. Lewis would tell you, even at his age, am I allowed to say Lewis? But even at Lewis's age, he'll say that he's still learning and it's still a journey, right, Lewis?
Always, till the day I die.
Yeah, exactly. It's always a journey every single day. And yes, you're right, Steve. You get to, yes, you actually choose to. Where each of us chooses to do this. I choose to be here. I don't have to be here, but I choose to be here, and I choose to do everything in my life. And the journey that you're on leads to that ability to be able to really choose every moment and how you feel, how you think and feel. In fact, I will share this actually as well because I think it's very important, and I'm not sure I put it into this series, but there's a whole thing when Napoleon Hill wrote in Think and Grow Rich. He wrote about the fact that there are two envelopes of life. Andrew Carnegie said to him, the richest man in the world at the time, said to him, there's two envelopes of life. The first envelope, labeled riches, includes the following list of blessings: sound health, peace of mind, what we're talking about here a lot, a labour of love of your own choice, freedom from fear and worry, a positive mental attitude, and material riches of your own choice and quantity. To me, that sounds like heaven on earth, right? The contents of the second envelope, labelled penalties, include the following list of prices you must pay for neglecting to take possession of your own mind. That's what we're talking about here. That's what eColours helps with. It's what all our books help with. Taking possession of your own mind. If you don't, you'll end up with things like ill health, fear and worry, indecision and doubt, frustration, discouragement, poverty, want, and a whole flock of other evils, including envy, greed, jealousy, anger, hate, and superstition. You think how many people you interact with in this world that live in the second envelope and get all of those things and don't understand that if they got the knowledge that they needed, they could live in the first envelope. Very, very, very important. Very important. Who else was lively in the chat box there? Nula, you were sharing a lot. Do you want to say hi? Also South Africa, are you?
Hi, and Britt, lovely to have another South African on the call for a change. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things that have stood out, and one of the things, just going back to what Steve was saying, is that I listened to a podcast with Dr. Tara Swart. She's a neuroscientist, and it was around the words that we use and how they either create abundance or they create scarcity.
Mm-hmm.
So when we say things like "I need a cup of coffee," you're creating scarcity because there is a lack of. Whereas you say, I'm going to reward myself, I'm going to go and appreciate and enjoy a beautiful cup of coffee, you are creating abundance. And I mean, I've been through an interesting time over the last few months where on one hand, work has been very scarily quiet. But on the other hand, I am incredibly grateful because it means that I have managed to actually, for the first time in 12 years, build a relationship with, a partner in my life and get to know him and like really appreciate it and get to grow each other and go, you know what, I think we have a future together, which I wouldn't be able to have done if I had been traveling as much as I had been, in the last 2 years. So right now I am incredibly grateful for the opportunities that some of the challenges that life has thrown me has presented, but I've grown, I've learned, I can, really go, thank you that I've been given this opportunity, and I'm super grateful and excited about what that future holds and whatever else the universe is going to bless me with.
That's right. And just enjoy every moment.
Yeah,
good on you.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you for all the stuff in the chat box. It was really useful stuff you put in there as well. So
pleasure. Lovely to see all of you.
Yeah, likewise, lovely to see you. Let's go. Carolyn, do you want to unmute and say hi? I haven't heard from you.
Yeah, hi Mark. Thanks so much. And well done again, you and Paul, for the book. I'm really enjoying reading it.
Oh, thank you.
And also another fellow South African here, but in the UK. So
Yeah,
nice.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
An
So
overload of South Africans.
accents. So yeah, I one thing that really struck out with me when I was working with Mark, in our one-to-one coaching is as a blue yellow, I'm quite emotional and deep. And it's all fine when everything's cheery and lovely, but I can go into a real dark place very quickly, and I'm very aware of that pattern over the years. And I've really been practicing. I remember having to WhatsApp you every day three things or scenarios when I was triggered, Mark. I don't know if you remember that time. And that has just totally shifted those moments when I'm triggered, but also to just take that pause and go, am I reacting out of state of ego here with this person or situation? Or I can pause and go into love. It's just that simple for me. I've just sort of got it down to that level that
Yeah.
even with the work and the teams that I work with,
Mm.
when I am triggered, I can recognize, oh, okay, but that's because they're red and they got these qualities or they're green. And I can't tell you how that's helped me because I'm also working with people who don't have that awareness, but it's like you say, be the change.
Mm.
So instead of reacting like I possibly would have maybe been a bit passive aggressive,
Mm.
I just pause, take a step back, and if I've got to go back to a situation a day or two later, that's actually okay.
Brilliant. Wow.
So
Love that.
I have found this whole attitude of gratitude so,
Mm.
so powerful. And I'm not perfect, don't get me wrong, but it's just
Awesome.
recognizing what triggers me. What is it? Where's this coming from? What's this old belief here? Oh,
Mm.
is it because it's reminding of my, controlling father? Oh,
Mm.
okay, that's what it is. But they're not that father. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah.
little things like that. So
That's
yeah,
really great to hear. That's great to
yeah,
hear.
yeah.
'Cause
Thank you.
we haven't worked together for a while, but that's really great to hear that you've taken that and worked with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing,
It's
Carolyn.
been a game changer that just that switch of how I can use
Yeah.
gratitude in this moment.
Good for you for taking control, Carolyn. Love that. For taking control of self. I think that's really powerful. Well done. Well, it's a great testimony as well. So well done. Thank you. I'll go to Kerry and then Angela, and then I think we'll finish up. But Kerry, would you like to say a couple of words? Because I saw you put something in the chat box about rather than just fleeting moments, actually getting that deep feeling.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a profound difference, obviously, isn't there, between the two? And I think for what I've learned and I talk to other people about is even just beginning with, if it's not deep at first and you're just going through the exercise of maybe my thing I started with initially was journaling in the morning, 3 points of gratitude, speaking them out loud, etc. And yeah, and then of course you can go throughout the day and something will happen at midday that might pull you back again a little bit, to the point of the repetition is mastery that you always talk about. So, what I do in that, am I feeling at that point deep gratitude? No, I'll be really honest. So I will go to my journal, I will go to my gratitude points again, and I will basically speak them out loud again. And yeah, feeling into the feeling as well as the thinking the words makes a really big difference. I can really feel the difference of feeling that gratitude if I bring in a constructive way as an over emotional yellow, positive emotion as I mentally speak or talk to the things that I'm grateful for. Another really good thing to do as well, if you meditate, thinking or saying your gratitude points, sort of when you're in a meditative state, because your brain's in theta, your subconscious will be more susceptible to taking it and really feeling it and truly believing it deeply.
Yeah.
I tend to do that at night.
It's a
So
big thing. It's a
yeah,
big
it is a
thing.
journey to get to that depth, isn't it?
It's a
It's
big
thinking
thing. It's a big thing to be able to quieten the conscious mind and get to the subconscious mind. But people can do that with meditations, little concentrations, etc. But thank you, Kerry. And I'll leave the last words to Angela. Steve, thanks for mate. You got to go. Lots of people are going to watch these back, so it's going to be really cool. But Angela, let's leave the last words to Angela. How are you?
Thank you. I'm okay, thank you. Um, yeah, I thought I'd just frame it really quickly, just to be concise, because I know we're late. But I'm grateful for having love. because it's better to have loved than never loved at all. I am grateful for the education that the NHS gave me. Everybody used to moan about educate. Oh, I've got to go on this course today and do this. And I used to be forever just full of gratitude for that. And I'm for the future, I don't think of having a long-term condition like I have. I'm healthy, I'm well, I'm grateful for that. So, and I just wanted to add about I've had a really bad point in my back that's been really niggling me for the last few weeks. And it goes on a little bit about actually feeling that gratitude that Kerry's just spoken about, because I couldn't get to the nub of it. I've been to a therapist, and yesterday I went to a fellow kinesiologist, and she worked on the emotion, and a lot of emotion came out. And I think when we're constantly in that positive, 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 there's a tendency to suppress the feelings that you've got. And I think it's really important that everyone sort of tries to find an outlet for those feelings. So I had a good cry because I acknowledged those feelings that I was feeling. Woken up this morning, backache's gone completely. So it's a bit of a Louise Hay moment for me. So yeah, there you go. So I think what Kerry's saying, that's what you're saying, isn't it, Kerry? You've got to feel that gratitude, not just keep saying it. My daughter used to say, I'm so lucky and everything goes my way, and then wonder why it didn't, because of the way that she was expressing it. And she's learned that now. She's only 30, and she's now learned to understand you've got to mean it, you've got to feel it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very true. And one of the things there about, being positive, yes, is important. But if anyone actually, goes back and looks at my journey, I went through a lot of negativity, a lot of therapy for that negativity, a lot of crying, a lot of releasing all that crap before I was ever ready to be coached by Bob Proctor, Lewis Senior, and actually become this guy. So I will talk a good game around positivity, but I'm completely conscious of the fact that you have to release all those emotions one way or another. If you keep, a lot of people try and push, 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 push. Yeah, be positive, be positive, be positive, but they haven't dealt with the shit in the the cupboard or whatever. And I liken it to someone sitting on the driveway of the with the car with the engine on, with their foot flat on the accelerator, trying to be positive,
Going
positive,
nowhere.
positive. Yeah, but the other foot is flat on the brake. And what happens? You know what I mean? It just spins and spins and pins. You don't go anywhere. You get frustrated. Oh, this stuff doesn't work. Well, it
And the
doesn't
teacher comes to you when you're ready.
100. And it's interesting because Louise Hay talks about lower, middle, and upper back pain. And where was yours, just out of interest?
It's base of spine. Yeah.
All right.
What does it say? Because I was going to go and look it up.
It says fear of money and lack of financial support.
Oh, wow. How incredible is that?
Okay, I'm not going to pry, but
No. That's spot on. That is absolutely spot on, which is
so
why, the book comes to me when I'm ready.
that's
His
right.
Life, Money Remixed. Yeah.
There you go.
Amazing.
And now the what she wants you to say, the affirmation is, I trust the process of life. All I need is always taken care of. I'm safe.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you.
It's good stuff, right? Right. Listen, thanks all so much for being here. Amazing session. Really lovely. Thank you, Lewis, for being here. Everyone who's going to watch it back and everything else. Wonderful stuff. Go and have a great day. Be grateful.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.